Whether you're new to the fire service or you know nothing at all about it, firefighter schedules and time off can be very confusing. And there's a lot of bad information out there, bad explanations of how it works and why it is the way it is. So in this video, what I want to try to do is explain it in the simplest way, most high-level way possible, to give you a better understanding of what the schedules are like and what one of the most confusing and controversial types of time off is and why it's necessary. Now I'm going to be breaking this video into two parts. The first one is just going over the common types of schedules, how they work, how they rotate. And then the second one is going to be attempting to explain the time off and why it is the way it is. So let's get right into it. For this video, sometimes I find that it's easier to see things instead of just have them explained. So I have a whiteboard that I'm going to attempt to use to explain these things, and hopefully it makes it a little bit helpful. So for the first part, let's talk about the schedules. Now, most people know that firefighters traditionally work 24 hours on, 48 off. That's the most common type of firefighter schedule out there. It's known as the 24-48. So if you don't understand it, that means on Monday, you're going to work for 24 hours. Then you'll be off Tuesday, Wednesday. You work 24 hours on Thursday. You'll be off Friday, Saturday. 24 hours on Sunday, and so on. You get the point. Now, as with all schedules, there's pros and cons to it. Some of the pros to the 24-48 is every day you work is a Friday, essentially. You know that whenever you work, you're going to have 2 days off, and every day is a weekend, or every work day will be followed by a weekend. The con to it is if you work 24-48 and you work at a station or a department that's particularly busy, especially at night, you're going to be dragging the entire next day. So your first of your 2 days off, you're going to be dragging. The next day you might be recovered, and then you're going right back into work to restart the cycle again. Now that might not seem like a big deal to you right now, and it might not be that big deal for a little bit, but do that over the course of 10 years, and it gets to be a little bit of a grind. So, but again, that depends on your department, that depends on your station. There's a whole lot of other factors that play into that, but that's just kind of the pros and cons of the 24-48. Another common schedule that's also very, very similar to the 24-48 is the 48-96. It's exactly the same way that the 24-48 is, but instead of just working one day, you're working 2 days. So you're working Monday, Tuesday for 24, then you're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then you'll work Sunday, Monday, then you're off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now this one isn't as common as some of the other ones, but I do know of at least one department around where I work that does do that. Some people really like it, some people don't. The obvious pro to it is that every 2 days you get 4 days off. The con to it is that you have to be at the station for 2 days straight. That's a long time, especially if you have a family or kids or other priorities or things that you have going on in your life. Taking 2 days out to just stay in one place is a lot of time to take away, depending on what it is. So again, it's not that common, but it is popular with some people. Now the last and probably most common, other than the 24-48 type of schedule out there, is known as the California swing schedule. Where I work, this is actually what we do, and I've worked a 24-48 before and I did not like it very much. I much prefer the California swing schedule. Now the California swing schedule can be pretty confusing to people that have never heard of it before, but basically the way it works is you work every other day for 5 days, and then you're off for 4 days. So to use my board again, you would work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then you're off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And you work Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, then you're off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And your schedule continually repeats and rotates like that. Now, obvious pros and cons. Obvious pro to it is that you're off for 4 days at a time. The con is if you work at a department that, again, is very busy and you are up quite a bit at night, you work all day and all night and you're really tired, and then you get 1 day off that you're really tired, and then you're right back into it, then you're right back into it, and you don't really get a time to rest and recover properly until you hit your 4 day. But again, it all depends on its personal preference. All departments are a little bit different call volumes, how busy they are, different personnel in the way that they allocate the workload to different people on each crew. So those are the three main types. Now, something else that throws a lot of new firefighters and people that don't understand the fire service very well is something known as Kelly days. Now, Kelly days are essentially forced or mandated days off. Now, not every department requires that you take them off. For example, where I first worked, they gave you the option to either work your Kelly days and get paid overtime or not work your Kelly days. It was totally up to you, but you had to make that decision at the beginning of the year, and there were some other stipulations that went along with it as well. There's a lot of confusion about Kelly days, especially people that don't understand the fire service, because they think that they're just free days off that the city or the union is handing people, and that's not necessarily the case. So I have some more stuff I'm going to show you an example of how this works. And in my example, I'm going to be assuming a few things. I'm going to be assuming for this particular month, there's 30 days in that month. Obviously, not every month has 30 days. Some have 31. February throws everything off with 28 or 29. The other thing I'm going to assume is that this particular department works a 50-hour work week. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't understand, especially that aren't in the fire service. The standard work week for workers is 40 hours a week. Anything over that, the company or wherever you work is required to pay you at an overtime rate. Firefighters are different. The standard firefighter work week, and again, this depends on the department, is usually somewhere between 48 hours and 52 hours, depending on where you work. This means that you are mandated to be at work, according to your contract or whatever, more hours per month than your standard 8-hour-a-day worker. So that's where this 50-hour work week comes from. And for my example, I'm going to be assuming that this particular department works a 24/48, which means you will be working or at work 10 days out of the month. So a 50-hour work week times 4 weeks equals 200 hours a month worked. Now, if you're working 10 days that month, you're working 24 hours a day times 10 days means you have now worked 240 hours that particular month. This means that wherever you work is going to be required to pay you 40 hours of overtime. Most places don't want to do that, which is where Kelly days come in, which they are forced days off. It saves, the city or the agency, whoever employs you, it saves them from having to pay you that mandated overtime because the amount of hours that you're actually working are so much more than you're mandated to work. So that's essentially how it works. That's a very high level view. The other thing I would say is the longer your hour, the more hours per work week. If I use the example of 50, if you have a 52-hour work week in your contract or wherever, that means you're going to get less Kelly days per year. Conversely, a 48-hour work week or less than 50-hour work week means you're going to get more Kelly days per year. So I hope that kind of cleared it up. I hope that was a simple explanation. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.